right, you're coming to Spain maybe to live, buy property, or maybe to retire, right? This one monthly fee you probably maybe not have thought about, and it's quite important, and it's community fees, you know. So what are they? They basically are a monthly fee that you would need to pay. Say, for example, you're sharing. Excuse me, a space with other people, like for example a complex or the building where I'm living, you know, and it's basically for the upkeep of the building. I'll say building because that's where I'm living here in Las Palmas. Um, Now, where I live, we have someone coming in 3 times a week. They clean the corridors, the stairs, and the lifts, you know. So it's basically for the upkeep of a building. Sometimes it includes like an insurance, a bit of insurance. Like, for example, the first week I was in my building, I had two neighbours come up to me and said that I was responsible for the leak that was coming down to them, ruined their ceilings, and they wanted me to pay immediately. So I had insurance, they had insurance, so their insurance guy came in and said it was my fault, never looked at my place. My insurance came in and said it was their fault, never looked at their place. And then an independent insurance of the building came in, and that guy was the only guy who actually did anything and proved that it wasn't coming from me. I still think to this day it was, hey, there's a new foreigner in, he's only here a week, that get him to pay for our ceilings. So they were wrong on that account. Um, Now, an important thing as well is when you're moving into a building is to see how old it is, especially if you're buying a property, right? Because if there's any structural problems or any problems like that, the whole community will actually have to pay for it, you know. Now, it wouldn't be a once-off payment. Now it's like a certain amount every month. So the more expensive it is, the more expensive it is, you know. And in each building as well, there'll be an administrator, um, like a company that will do the administration of the building. Um, Now that could be a company, or if there's just a few apartments, it could be just an individual person, like an accountant or something like that, you know. Um, so it's important, and like another thing is, uh, you should always look at the condition of the lifts as well, because lifts can be very, very expensive if they need to be, you know, replaced or anything like that. You know, another thing as well is not for me, but a big expense can be like if you're in a complex with a swimming pool. That can be a big addition to your monthly fee. How are community fees set? Basically, all the residents will have a meeting once a year where it will be trashed out and decide how much everyone needs to pay every month. Now, I'm sure that will come, to be guided by the administrator, like what is actually needed, you know. Another thing as well that I never thought about, I was speaking to a friend of mine recently, and this came up about community fees. And I asked him how much he was paying, and he was actually paying twice more than me, even though we had the same size apartment. And I asked him why that was, and he said, "Well, Pat, you live in a building with 60 people. I live in a building with 8 people, so there's less people to share the expenses." Now, I never thought about that, you know. What happens if you don't pay your community fees? Well, you can be brought to court. After you will get a few warnings, and then you can get a court order against you. And eventually, look, if you don't pay at all, you wouldn't be able to sell your property without that debt being cleared. I hope that helps. Take it easy.